Ever wondered if electronic vehicles are truly the environmental saviors they're heralded to be? As we journey through the 21st century, the world is witnessing a dramatic shift from traditional gasoline vehicles to electronic vehicles, or EVs. This transformation is spurred by the increasing concerns about our environment and the role we play in its preservation. But the question that's been sparking conversations around the globe is, are electronic vehicles genuinely better for our planet? Is this rapid rise of electronic vehicles, championed by trailblazing companies like Tesla, Rivian, and NIO, truly making a positive impact on our environment? These are the big questions that we'll be exploring today. We'll delve into the reality behind the glossy paint and whirring engines of these modern machines. We'll look beyond the hype and fanfare to scrutinize the true environmental cost of electronic vehicles. So buckle up and stay with us as we delve deeper into the environmental impacts of electronic vehicles versus traditional gasoline vehicles. First, let's take a look at traditional gasoline vehicles, the so-called gas guzzlers. These vehicles have been our companions on the road for over a century now. From the iconic Ford Model T to the modern-day SUVs and supercars by brands like Ferrari, Lamborghini, and so forth, these gas guzzlers have ruled the roads. However, their reign hasn't been without consequences. The primary environmental impact of gasoline vehicles is, of course, their emissions. Every mile driven in a gasoline vehicle releases about a pound of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. And that's not all. There are also emissions of harmful pollutants like nitrous oxides and particulate matter. These not only contribute to global warming but also have serious impacts on our health. But the emissions from the tailpipe are just the tip of the iceberg. There's also the issue of fuel consumption. A typical gasoline vehicle gets about 20 to 30 miles per gallon. Now consider the billions of vehicles on the road worldwide. The amount of gasoline consumed is staggering. And this consumption contributes to the depletion of our natural resources. And then we have the process of oil extraction and refinement. From drilling to transportation to refinement, each step has its own environmental toll. Oil spills, habitat destruction, air and water pollution, these are all part and parcel of the process. And let's not forget the geopolitical conflicts often associated with oil. Popular car makers like General Motors, Toyota, and Volkswagen are still heavily invested in these traditional vehicles. While they have started to venture into the realm of electronic vehicles, their core business still revolves around the gas guzzlers. Clearly, gasoline vehicles carry a heavy environmental cost. But what about electronic vehicles? Are they really the saviors they're made out to be? Or do they have their own set of environmental issues? Well, let's dive into that in the next scene. Now let's switch gears and explore the world of electronic vehicles. This revolution on wheels is changing our roads and cities. But what about its impact on our environment? First off, manufacturing an electric vehicle is no small task. It uses a significant amount of energy and materials, including rare earth metals for the batteries. This process contributes to greenhouse gas emissions even before the car hits the road. However, once on the road, electric vehicles produce zero tailpipe emissions, making them a cleaner alternative to their gasoline counterparts in operation. Now, let's talk about electricity consumption. Electric vehicles use electricity, a resource that isn't always green. In regions where coal or gas power the grid, the environmental benefits of electric vehicles diminish. However, in areas where renewable energy sources like wind and solar are prevalent, electric vehicles can significantly reduce carbon emissions. Battery disposal is another important factor to consider. Electric vehicle batteries are large, heavy, and filled with valuable but potentially harmful materials. If not properly disposed of, these materials can be hazardous to the environment. However, many companies are working on recycling programs to recover these resources, reducing the overall environmental impact. Popular electronic vehicle makers like Tesla, Nissan, and BMW are leading the charge in this revolution. These companies are not only pushing the boundaries of technology, but also setting new standards for sustainability. They are investing in renewable energy for their factories, developing efficient manufacturing processes, and creating programs for battery recycling. That said, it's clear that electronic vehicles are not the silver bullet for our environmental woes. They come with their own set of challenges. from manufacturing emissions to battery disposal. However, the efforts by leading car makers and the potential for renewable energy integration make them a promising part of the solution. It seems that electronic vehicles also have their environmental challenges. So, what's the verdict? It's time to put these two side by side and see how they stack up. When it comes to environmental impact, gasoline vehicles are often the first to be pointed at, and it's not without reason. Traditional cars emit carbon dioxide, a greenhouse gas that contributes to global warming. And let's not forget about the other harmful pollutants like nitrogen oxides and particulate matter that are released when we burn gasoline. These substances can lead to serious health issues and degrade air quality. On the other hand, electronic vehicles, or EVs, promise a greener alternative. They produce zero tailpipe emissions, which is a clear win for air quality. But it's important to remember that the environmental footprint of an EV isn't just about what comes out of the tailpipe. The manufacturing process of EVs, particularly the production of the lithium-ion batteries they use, is energy-intensive and results in significant carbon emissions. Not to mention the electricity that charges these batteries often comes from fossil fuel-burning power plants. So while EVs might not be polluting the air directly, they may be contributing to carbon emissions in a more roundabout way. But here's where the potential for improvement comes in. As our energy grid becomes cleaner and more renewable, so too does the electricity that charges our EVs. And advancements in battery technology could reduce the environmental impact of their production. In contrast, there's less room for improvement with gasoline vehicles. Sure, we can make them more fuel efficient, but they'll always require gasoline, and burning gasoline will always result in emissions. We should also consider the lifespan of these vehicles. An electronic vehicle can be expected to last longer than a gasoline one, meaning over the course of its life, an EV could potentially offset the higher emissions produced during its manufacturing. It's clear that neither is perfect, but one seems to hold more potential for improvement. After all, the future of transportation depends on our ability to adapt, innovate, and most importantly, reduce our environmental impact. So, what does this mean for the future of transportation? Well, the potential of electronic vehicles to save the environment is vast and fascinating. As we move forward, the advancements in renewable energy and battery technology play a significant role in shaping our transportation future. Just imagine, cars that run solely on electricity, produced by renewable sources like wind, solar, and hydroelectric power. No more exhaust fumes, no more oil changes, and most importantly, no more guilt about contributing to the world's carbon emissions. But we're not just talking about a cleaner drive, we're talking about a complete transformation in the way we think about and use automobiles. Now let's talk batteries. The heart of any electric vehicle is its battery. The current lithium-ion batteries are impressive, but they're just the start. Researchers are already exploring new technologies like solid-state batteries, which promise longer ranges, shorter charging times, and even safer operations. And the best part? As battery technology improves, the cost of electric vehicles will continue to fall, making them increasingly affordable. This is crucial, as cost has long been a barrier to widespread adoption of electric vehicles. But let's not forget about renewable energy. The more we can power our vehicles with clean energy sources, the greater the environmental benefit. Solar panels on rooftops could charge our cars, turning homes into personal filling stations. Wind farms could power long-distance electric trucking routes. The possibilities are as limitless as our ingenuity. However, the shift from gasoline to electric won't happen overnight, and it won't be without challenges. There are still issues to address, from building out charging infrastructure to ensuring the ethical sourcing of battery materials. The road to environmental salvation may not be as clear-cut as switching from gasoline to electric, but there's hope on the horizon. We have the tools, we have the technology, and most importantly, we have the motivation. The future of transportation is electric, and it's a future we can all look forward to. Let's wrap this up and summarize what we've learned. We began by looking at the environmental impact of our conventional gasoline cars, the gasoline guzzlers as we called them. We then moved on to the exciting world of electronic vehicles, heralding a new era of transportation. We've seen how companies like Tesla, Rivian, and many others are leading the charge in the EV revolution, offering promising alternatives to their fuel-thirsty counterparts. We compared and contrasted the environmental footprint of both types of vehicles, and while EVs are not without their own challenges, the balance tips in their favor when considering the life cycle emissions. We concluded by envisioning a future where electronic vehicles play a central role in transportation, driven by advancements in technology and a collective will to reduce our carbon footprint. Remember, every choice we make has an impact, and when it comes to transportation, the choice is in our hands.